Hi, Kenny here, and I am was gonna go out for a quick little ride, but it's not looking too great. Looks like we got a little bit of rain, and yeah, the wet, cold part of October settling in. So I thought maybe today I'd do a little bit on talking about the Rad Runner, and this is the Rad Runner. Oh, geez, I believe it's the Rad Runner 2. So the Rad Runner 2 is an e-bike, I guess an e-bike, cargo style e-bike. And I want to just give you my general thoughts and walk around and what I've done to it. Because I've talked about biking, I've talked about e-biking in a lot of my other videos. So I'll show you guys what I got going on here. Sorry, I'm trying to work my gimbal, and it's been a while since I've used this thing. The Enfield is kind of just hanging out here. So the Run Runner is an e-bike that I've had for about 3 years now, and it's been a fantastic little e-bike. I'll show you what I've done to it. Right now, I'm running a smaller battery here. We also have the Rad Runner, the Rad Mission, and the Rad Mission comes with a smaller battery, but I usually just kind of swap it out between the two so I can evenly kind of wear through the batteries. So it's got a slightly smaller battery right now because most of the time I'm using it as a bike to pick up my kids, and I'm not relying heavily on the range. So that bike gets the lighter battery for now, and it's not something I'm worried about unless I need the heavy duty range. Oh, here's my other battery there, sitting there. So that's different. I've changed it to this kind of very comfortable seat. It's just an inexpensive little gel saddled seat. I find it really comfortable. The bike did come with the basket that I purchased. It's available on the Rad Runner website, but it's a basket that I don't know, it does kind of okay. After having to deliver both my kids to school, I've kind of done a little upgrade with the basket here. And it's a much wider cargo basket, I guess. You can see the size there. And allows me to fit a couple backpacks in. So, really handy for that kind of stuff. And it's just simply zip tied. I've got zip ties in here going in. And doesn't affect the steering. My steering kind of goes right over. So, pretty handy for that. Apart from that, the pedals are not really upgraded. I just transferred it over from a previous bike, but it gives me a lot of footprint. And I seem to have no issue with the grippiness of this. So it's been a good little it's been a good pedal to use. Just some strapped on tool bags for emergency. I think just Allen keys for the time being. Maybe an extra cargo strap should I need it. So I'm not quite sure what kind of kilometer I've put on this. I wouldn't even be able to guess. But it's served me well. It's been a solid little bike. One of the things that's cool about the Rad Runner 2 is that there are no gears. So it's a single speed. And the reason I got the single speed is that it does allow me to do very minimal shifting. I mainly use it kind of like a moped. And really, this is something that got me started. It grew on me and got me interested in motorcycles. And I pretty much kind of treat it like a little electric moped. Like, I don't worry about the gears. If you are more inclined to ride this like a bicycle. You can get the Radrunner versions that have shiftable gears, but I opted for without the gears just because I just think it's a lot easier to just treat this like a little moped than trying to ride it like a bike. I have not missed the gears. But this is, I heavily throttle this bike. And I'm quite happy to do that. So no issues with the gears. The initial, the single speed, this piece here, I'm not sure what you call it, the cartridge, freewheel. The freewheel wore out. I was getting like a weird click, and sometimes it would just like, I can't remember what the issue was. I think it was just like struggling to spin. So that's been upgraded, not upgraded, but replaced in the 3-4 years time that I've owned this. I've done all the service to this bike myself. It's still on its original chain. I've changed the brake pads multiple times. They're Tektro brake pads. They sit back there. Both the front and the rear. And I suspect it's mostly because I, haul my kids around. And there's my little Thule trailer. And, it does go through quite a bit of wear and tear because of the heavy hauling that I do on it. So one thing about these bikes, the brakes do wear. They wear rather quickly. Like once a year, you might want to check up on it. So that's been an ongoing issue. And I don't know if this is like common on electric bikes. It might be just a thing with electric bikes. So you have to go with the brakes, go with a brake check and replace the pads once in a while. Another thing I wanted to mention about the Radrunner is that it is not necessarily. I think this is not necessarily like a bicycle, because this thing weighs 70 pounds. It's a heavy bike. However, it does feel pretty effortless when you're on it and you're riding. You have the throttle assist here. So I'll go ahead and power it on. Got the lights on there. And throttle. You can see there he goes. And it's held up well. I've had no issues. The tire wear is getting a little thin, but again, I have not replaced the tires. I've had punctures. Once I found like the tiniest spring that got in there somehow, and was able to change the tire out. So it's a little tedious because you have to get at the tube itself. However, it's nothing you can't handle if you're used to changing a bicycle tire. I've had to replace the brake cable, and I kind of got frustrated. I didn't end up like running the brake cable through the bike, and I think it goes through under here and runs out the bottom. I just simply zip tied it, and it's held up. I've had no issues with that. It doesn't look great, but this is a cargo bike. It's totally supposed to be utilitarian, and it just goes. Right? So that's my Radrunner. What else have I had happen? Oh, these. The headlights, or the rear lamp. I've had to replace these from Radrunner. This past summer, I guess, I did take it out camping, and I did find this light kind of faded a bit, so I ordered a new one. I also had to replace this. So this control console is relatively new. And I was able to call Radrunner and just simply get it replaced. The issue I had with the previous controller was that I think these are stickers, and I guess it's just gotten old enough that there was some slight peeling, and once it was on a trailer going 80 kilometers in the rain, some water got in and shorted the circuit. But Radrunner was fairly quick. I got a new replacement controller. It wasn't terribly expensive, and it was just plug and play. Once I swapped that out, it was back in business. So overall, very impressed with the Radrunner. It is a cargo bike that is going to do a lot of things. If you're not doing if you're not piling kids on the back and you're simply happy with just using the trailer, I personally prefer using these child trailers simply because they can just get on the trailer themselves and sort themselves out, and you have that lower center of gravity. You don't have to worry about getting into trouble on the bike because the trailer can still be relatively safe. It's towed behind. One drawback I do find with the trailer is that they can get debris, but I also probably should put some fenders on this. The one thing I'm considering upgrading, because my daughter is getting up in age, she is probably able to sit on the back. I might consider getting a bench for it. So we can do like a 2-up on this electric bike and go for short little rips, for runs, grocery runs, or anything of that sort. But yeah, it's been a great little cargo bike. I do load this occasionally on a trailer and take it with me places to ride. So it is a cargo bike that is very utilitarian that way. It's not elongated, and it's not a long cargo bike that it's difficult to travel with a vehicle, like if you got to load it onto a car. It has that compactness, but it also can serve as a heavy-duty hauler. So I would say like my kids probably weigh a combined weight of currently a little over 60 pounds. On the trailer, and they get towed no problem. It still keeps up and still clocks in at like 30 kilometers, which is the maximum speed limit on these governed electric bikes. And I do really prefer the throttle. The throttle is really great for situations where you gotta just get up and go, especially at red lights. It gets you moving from a dead stop if you have, especially if you have kids that you're hauling or cargo and any of that sort. But yeah, it's been pretty flawless. I should take better care of it because I've noticed that the change on this bike isn't looking too great. But then again, like I kind of pedal for fitness. I don't use it like a bicycle much because I've got other bikes. This is my Marin Larkspur. Fantastic bike. I'll talk about it probably down the road. There's a lot of wheels in this garage, but I wanted to kind of talk about and focus on the cargo bike today. If you have any questions, let me know. My experience with the Rad Power brand and the Radrunners have just been fantastic. It's a great cargo bike for the price and budget and the features and what it does. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.